Doing? Hope you guys are doing well. So today I'm gonna be will be a quick video. I will we will configure the high availability for the FMC for the FTD, sorry, or the Cisco Secure Firewall. It will be pretty simple. So basically, I have uh, a small diagram here to you guys understand. So what is high availability? We make these two guys being just one, but one is the active one, and the other one, which is this secondary, it keeps standby. So you are paying to use. You have two boxes, but only one is being used. The other one is staying on standby. So one active and the other one is standby. Basically, that's the way that high availability works. When this first one goes down, let's say that this one goes down, right? So this guy took over this IP address. This IP address come to here, and this box will keep secondary, but now with the role of active one. And I can show to you guys that during the troubleshooting step that they're gonna perform. But basically, that's what has happened. So basically, we will never use or point our switch. For example, let's in our case, for example, we have this. In our case, we have this switch pointing to the firewall. So let's jump to the switch pretty quickly just to see the default route. To our switch and say show IP route. We can see that sent all the traffic to 10.4.4.4, and 10.4.4 it is the data between the FTD01 and FTD02. What's gonna happen? To avoid layer 2 issues, they shared the same IP address and also the same MAC address. So basically, when these ones go down, let's go back to our topology here. So when this one goes down, the IP address goes to the secondary one and also the MAC address, for example, AAA, BBB, CCC 888. Okay, so that's what's gonna happen. So here, downside for the switch will be transparent. Usually we lost one packet or two in a real environment. In my virtual environment, what I checked and what I figure out, usually lost, if you do a ping for internet, for example, it lost something like 6 packets, but we can do this. So let's go to this. Let's go and start to configure. It's pretty simple, no big deal. One thing that I want to mention to you, we have, for example, these two roles for the failover interface. So one interface, we will create this one for, we can have two. For example, I can have 1/5 here, one dedicated for the state and one dedicated for the failover. But basically, what it means? State keeps the health check between them, the heartbeat, they keep seeing if the other one is alive, and the failover interface will be the interface responsible to sync up. So everything that we configure on this one, on the primary, with the active role, will be replicated to the secondary with the standby role, right? So that's the way that works. I think it's pretty easy. It's not a big deal, and most of the companies that I work at prefer this. There is other kind of not high availability, they call it the cluster, where you can use both boxes at the same time. There is some kind of, I would try to work with it. Not a promise with you guys because I never implemented, so I have to study first. But so I will try to take a look at this one, and maybe we can do a lab on the cluster side. But for now, let's focus on the high availability. So one active, one standby. If one goes down, the other one take over, and the secondary IP will never be used for the switch or to the ISP, for example. They will share the same IP address of the active one when you configure, and also the same MAC address to avoid layer 2 and layer 3 issues. So let's go there. Where is my machine? Okay, so this is our FMC. So right now our lab has FTD01 and FTD02. As you guys can see, I just bring gigabit 0/4 to these guys, and they are using the same cloud to connect to the to interconnect between them. Could be a switch, could be directly connected between them across cable, but I just decided to use this like this just to show to you guys the option. So could be a direct connection from here to here, and could be like a switch with, because remember guys, that cloud that management cloud represents a hub, for example. So it's just this. So let's go there, where we go to create. So first thing first, right, we need to check if both devices are here and they are healthy, they are okay. One thing that I didn't mention, so in case of FMC, the device should be same version, and also in ASA, right? HA on this ASA, on the ASA, use the same process, same versions, same version, same number of interface, and also same model, same version, same number of interface. If it is a real, for example, a box, it should be the same box. You cannot do, for example, a 2115 with the 2110, and that's it. So that's the prerequisites to have high availability. So let's go there. We go to the devices. As you guys see, device management, click here. There is this high availability button here. So we're gonna create our secure firewall HA. So the device type is firepower threat defense, and the old style, if you want to have high availability for the box, I think is 80,000 or 9,000. I don't remember exactly right now, but you should use firepower. Okay, so primary will be FTD01, secondary will be FTD02. We click continue. Let's see if there is any complaint. Oh, it's just a warning, say that during the process, the snort process will be restart. Okay, so this, if you are using the snort process, can cause traffic interruption for some minutes. So let's say yes. Okay, take a look. Peers are under the same device group. As I said, peers do not have interface with DHCP. Management is okay. Our interface is okay. Our required certificates are enrolled. So there is only one thing that is pending, which is a pending deployment task on peers. So let's see it. Which one is the pending one? So cancel this one. And the good part that FMC will always show to you what is missing. For example, this device doesn't match because of inversion, hardware or interface. So let's do this. So okay guys, here we go, deployment completed. Let's go back to devices. Okay, device management, and let's configure the high availability. And in our next class, I want to configure the platform settings, which is configurations applied to the devices. So we will configure. Maybe we can do that today if this video is short. So high availability, secure firewall 8A. The device type is threat defense, FTD01, FTD02. Let's say yes to this. Let's see. Okay, here it goes. So high availability link, as I said, is the link between to replicate the informations between them, right? Between 01 and 02. So we're gonna select as Giga04, and we can use other interface, or in my case, I only have one, so will be same as LAN failover link. So logic name will be failover link. I like to use IPv6 here because then I'm sure that this IP address will not be used in other place, for example, because my whole network is IPv4. So I like to use this on AB//01-64, and for the secondary IP, this AA02. Okay. In the ASA, there is one thing that I need to mention. Since the same FMC will be managing both FTDs, we can encrypt this traffic here between them. So Giga04 and 04 we will encrypt using IPsec tunnel, and there is two options here basically. You can let FMC generate the password and configure everything, or we can say custom and say Cisco123, Cisco123, and if someone for any reasons try to capture this traffic here, remember that this is a hub, so the traffic will be broadcasted. If I capture the traffic here, I will not see anything because there is an IPsec tunnel between Giga04 and Giga04 from both files. So let's do this. I always like to use auto because it doesn't make so difference. So the password is, they will select a password and that's all. And let's click add to finish this step. And now it's just a matter of waiting, right? So the high availability will be ready between the two guys, and we can make some tests. For example, we can, let's see it, while this high availability is not okay. Okay, so configure monitor. There is more steps to do that I didn't show to you guys, but let's see it. Okay, let's wait for them to keep good on it, and then we can move forward. And after this sync up, right now they are sync up, and we need to configure the secondary IP for all the interface that we have. As you guys can see, already separated. For example, 172.1680.100 to F01, 101 to 02, .4 here, .5 here, and so on. You guys can see here, but I will show to you guys where we configured that. So just a matter of some minutes, let's wait for they keep the synchronization okay, and after that we will configure the interface. So here you go, guys. After some time it shows a message saying that the high availability process is okay. As you can see, I have 01 as primary and the active one right now, and FTD02 is the secondary and the standby right now. Pretty easy stuff, but right now we need to configure the secondary IP for the interface. So let's go to the pencil here, click edit. So high availability, and we can see here that there is this monitor interface. So what does mean? So if one of these interface goes down, I will promote the secondary as active one, the standby as active one. So let's configure here. Basically here we have 172.16.13.101 for DMZ. Basically it's this, the next IP. That's why I segregate like this. 10.4, 10.4.4.5, and the next one will be 192.168.1.101. and remember, this IP address will never be used because they share the active IP address and the active MAC address between them. 101, 172.16.8.101. If I had IPv6, same thing here. Okay, what else? So here's a peer pull time, 1 second. Hold time is 15 seconds. Interface pull time, so it's pull the information every 5 seconds, and it holds 25 seconds to consider the interface down and promote the standby one as active. We don't need to change anything else. All the configuration and rules applied to FTD01 will be replicated to FTD02 right now. So FTD02 does not have this IP address that 01 has, for example. So there is no 100, they don't, FTD02, the second firewall right now, the secondary firewall doesn't know nothing about that. As soon as we save it here and make the deployment, this configuration will be replicated, right? Or it is already replicated, and we just need to do the deploy just to pass the whole thing. So as you can see, configuration it was successful a few minutes ago. Check peer event, okay, no issues. So let's go and do a deployment, and now we deploy only for the sec firewall 8A, not to both devices, because right now they are considered just one, but one is working and the other one is in standby. So while this, let me go back to the CLI. Let's finish these two steps right now. So high availability, which is pretty simple, and also the device, the platform settings. Basically, platform settings, it's configurations applied to the device, not to FMC, but to the device. And we can see there is a couple of options here. So let's now that they are in HA, let's configure the platform setting for both devices at once, right? So secure firewall settings, put the sets. We're gonna add these two guys here. Let's save it, close this. It's gonna create a new policy, and same thing, threat defense settings is for the FTDs, and firepower settings is for the older device 80,000, 7,000, the old firepower, which uses only IPS or IDS. So we can configure the Arp Inspection if needed. For example, we can go here and let's say that I want inspection enable, but it's only for switched security zone, and switched security zone will be listed here. I don't have any switched security zone. I only have the normal zone, so not possible to configure. Here we configure the banner for the FTD. So this is the FTD. This is the 8A FTD, pretty simple. What else? We can configure the DNS for the device resolve name. So let's say we're gonna use the DNS group 1, and is reachable from SRV. And we're gonna also enable DNS lookup using the diagnostic interface, which is the management interface. Fragment settings, I never change that. I usually use the default, which is the fragmentation under the interfaces. HTTP access, it's basically we can enable, but that doesn't sound like you can access FTD using HTTP. It's just for some troubleshooting, to download some captures, and I will show you guys that when we start the process of troubleshooting steps. So I'm gonna say that any IPv4 coming from data can access, and I will show you guys that later. Later you guys will understand what it is. But basically, it's for troubleshooting. You can type, for example, the IP of FTD slash capture slash the name of the capture, and made a download directly from the browser instead of SCP or FTP and so on. ICMP access, I think it works the same thing. SSH access as well. So let's add it here that from data we allow any from data. So this is to allow the SSH access. So okay guys, deployment completed, and now we should be able to log in to FMC with our password. Let's see it's gonna work, because now it's better to check. And this is the HAFTD as we configured. So basically that's why it was not working, because it was missing the platform settings. So the default one, there's no SSH enable, so we just enable SSH, and now it's supposed to work. So guys, as you guys can see, I'm on it, right? So there is two CLI modes, three actually. We have the Cliche Mode, which you have to type the whole command, so show failover, for example. And we can see here that failover is enabled. Let's go up a little bit. So failover is enabled. These are my monitored interfaces. Everything's up. This is the serial number of this device. This is the serial number of the mates. This host is the primary. The other host is the secondary, and this is standby. So it's okay. There is also show failover history to check the last failover history that we have. So we have it was disabled, and now it's under then negotiation, active drain, starting to replicate the configuration applied, and this one become the active one. So let me try to go to the secondary and see how shows there. So 10.4.4.5. So here we go, same thing, right? So let's go with this. Let's get our secondary file here. Expand a little bit and use the same command that we use on the primary one. So here it goes. So show failover. We can see that the other way around, right? And this one is a secondary, the standby. The interfaces, if you do a show failover history, standby ready. So same process, it sync up the file system, sync up, book the sync, and that's it. They are good, right? So what are you gonna do right now? I think this machine is able to ping the internet. So let me do here. I think I enable ping from this laptop, from this device. So ping 80.8.8.8. Here we go. And now what I'm gonna do, I will leave this ping with -C to continuous pinging, and then I will shut it down, FTD01, which is the primary one. Let's see how many pings we lost. Here we go, 1. Let's see it. It's a lab, so lab is not works as expected. Here it goes. So we lost some packets, and right now, if you go to the secondary one, which is still up, we do show failover. Oh, one thing. After the failover happened, we lost connection. So I will go to new session, and now it took over the 10.4.4.4 for him, because it is the active one. So 10.4.4.4, and let's say admin with the local password for now. We are not using radios yet. Just to update you guys, FTD doesn't support StackAC, so we need to use radios to connect to the FMC, FTD, and so on. So let's wait a little bit. Right now we are going back to the secondary, but now we're using the primary IP, as I said. I will use only Cliche right now, which is this CLI here. Then we go move forward with the Lina, and then with the expert mode. For now, just Cliche. So show failover, and let me make this bigger. Show failover, enter. I am the secondary host, but the active one, and the other one is failed, so I'm not seeing the other one. So as you can see, all the interface monitor as unknown, and there is no preempt. Okay guys, so the secondary now will stay the active one even when the primary one goes back. That's it. If we want to make the primary as the active one, we need to go to the CLI and make failover active, and then that's the command will make it the active one again. So show failover history, and here we go. hello, not heard from 8, not heard from 8, not heard from 8, and then I became the active one. That's the way it works. So it will take a little bit time to this one comes back, but basically if you want to that guy, the primary becomes the active one, you just type failover, and there is a bunch of commands here. One of them is active, and type enter. The primary will become the active one again. So guys, I think that's it. We step on a little bit on the platform settings, then we step on the failover, which is the main goal of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe, comment, like it, let me know if you need something, if you need more details, if I'm doing good or not, just let me know. Okay, thank you for your time, thank you for your patience. God bless you. Talk to you soon. Bye bye. So guys, just to let you know, we will go back to the platform settings and configure SMTP, NTP, and other things there. I should enable the SSH and also the some of the other things that I enable and show that to you here. But basically, it's not a bug. What was missing was the SSH. So that's why. Thank you.